The key thing now for them is to keep securing that farm, although
Gonna find themselves errors here on the Mirana. A nice little pickup as they are gonna move into that top tier 1 tower. Boom Esports, Serpent dropped, should be able to make quick work of this one. It's a much better game, I must say, as well for Jackie here on the Sven. Top net worth already, no struggles whatsoever. So he will look to retreat. The one main concern right now for me when it comes to Boom is probably RML not having the best laning stage, but he's still ahead of the co-op, all things being said and done when it comes to net worth. So I guess in some sense it's not that bad. I just find that Leshraks tend to have a little bit less influence without that farm than, say, a co-op that can still be pretty useful.
that they do. Mind you, I think there's a little bit of a niche here where Nihilism could do a lot of work. Like, say, the Ags upgrade on Armel could be one way to hinder out the damage coming in from Nemesis later on, from the right clicks, even from the illusions as well. So there is value for that. It's just not something I expect early, but there are ways to keep that presence out.
Sunder, Jabs trying to TP away, but a nice avalanche from Akashi. Sonic wave out from Mac. That's going to be a very important pick-off now onto Jabs, who almost got away, but not quite. Meanwhile, mid lane, chase on for Jing. Jing does get in the tree line, but is hexed up here, and he will eventually get caught, as RML will claim a life across the map. Certainly, though, a much more favorable trade for Nemesis.
And it is. They find a bigger offlane kill, which, you know, both offlanes not having the best of games right now. Raven and Jabs kind of struggling in net worth, although fair not too far behind the mids.
Ooh. Nice shackle.
Mac.
Zhao, he's going to find that primary target in Mac. Very, very cheeky sneak in here from Zhao. They will take Zhao out in the end, but he'll be more than happy to trade his life away for the mid-Mac quap, and, well, boom, they'll get away with murder this time. Happy days.
That's a big kill they were looking for, that we've been all looking for. They needed to do something about the co-op spacing. This does increase that gap between Mac and Armel ever so slightly. I think both sides, though, overall, if you think about it, you're happy enough finding farm in these pause ones. Happier so on Boom. Like you were saying earlier, Mike, Jackie's had a fantastic game. Mask of Madness up, Echo Saber next, into the BKB Blink. And once you have at least one of the next two, like the BKB or the Blink, you should be set to start employing that advantage, because most of that gold and this advantage right now from Boom is really just on Jackie. So just a little bit more time necessary for Nemesis. They're the ones with a little bit less guidance in what they'd want to do, right? Like, Akashi still needs way more farm than even the Sven will. There's still a little bit more that you need to work on. They're starting to play into a lot of these wards as well, with a little bit of a siege down bot. They're trying to sneak around with a smoke. They do have Moonlight Shadow ready as well. Armel?
Yeah, pick off they can find Armel, but not quite. They had Moonlight Shadow as well, but I guess just not worth popping yet. So Armel going to show mid. Maybe now it's worth using, and they do immediately. Rush forward here. They really want that Leshrac kill. Tim's going to be around, so they might just settle for the Slark instead, and it seems like they will. Just go for the easier kill instead. Go into that mid-tier 1 tower. Though I must say, I mean, if you're Nemesis, you might be getting somewhat concerned, because Jackie's farm pace is a little bit too fast at the moment. Stun out on Eris, not really going to lock him down, as he does get the leap away. And they do indeed lose that mid-tier 1 tower. But I do wonder what kind of concern they have here for this Fendron, because he has been missing for a while.
And he has. I'm surprised no one from Nemesis are making rotations up top. Right, like, we've seen this multiple times before. You take that tier 1 top, the carry always stays in that area. You can just hunt down and punish Jackie. Doesn't happen this time around. And again, there's room for the Sven to get into the trifecta of items with the BKB lining up next, or the Blink for Jackie. It is dangerous. Like, there is no direct way of stopping that damage from the Sven. The the mech and, say, the Crimson Guard in this game doesn't do as much against the cleave damage.
Well, they might have Raven here. They just need to get in for the Hex Shackle. Zhao, smoke broken. He's not going to get within range. But unfortunate. They'll miss out on Raven. So Boom, you can tell how confident they feel right now. Just freely walking into that Radiant Triangle with no fear. Right now, it does seem like Nemesis are the ones that do not feel very confident on this map. And I don't quite blame them, John. Things are looking a little bit spooky if you're the side of Nemesis.
And it is. Like, again, you're not quite ready on Raven. He's had a very slow lane. You died once in Mac, and that already offsets the tempo of your Quap early on. And to be fair, net worth across the board is tied in outside of Jackie pulling ahead this far. So again, it's relatively equal across both sides, except for the Sven. I think Nemesis... It's really down to Nemesis to actually play early. Maybe they're just showing a lot of respect for, say, the early output of Armel without the auras up on Raven. No, we're a long ways off from a pipe here on the Dark Seer after such a slow game. Even the mech, not quite up yet, 400 gold away. So the timings just aren't lining up for you to play the clump up. That is, again, holding back that potential when you play the Quap, though. We'll try to Moonlight Shadow Hunt. Maybe you can catch out Jackie. This is without vision. And without the smoke as well, so the movement is a lot slower. And they don't want to cross the Rubicon, so they don't get across the river in the right spot. Again, just more passiveness. Boom's happy. This is what they were looking for. A bit of a slower game. You've got Tims running around, checking for wards every single time. So your vision game isn't that good, even defensively here for the side of Nemesis. You are getting a siege off top, at least. Maybe you can set up your aggressive forward wards now to start to spot out Jackie. Because that does feel like the one big thing that you've been missing out on is bullying that Sven early. I'm going to come in for the mid defense. No, not even a hard commitment from Boom, but maybe they can get a pick off somehow. Good wards, though, again from Boom to keep watch.
They're chasing down Akashi now. Again, without Jal setting up, it doesn't really feel like it's too easy to actually catch anyone. They're going to maybe try for Mac. Jackie's going to join in. Akashi's still being hunted down. They'll pop the war cry, and this time they'll get their Hex out. TPs are incoming, but Akashi, he blows up too quick. Way too fast. As Zhao is being hunted, but he actually gets a nice trap onto Mac. Mac will still walk out of it, though. So they'll get away with the Akashi kill, and that's about it for now, but it's the best kill you could have asked for as Boom Esports. They'll even find a tier 1 tower for their trouble. Now they roam into around that Radiant Triangle to see if they can find any more. Oh. Big stun though, Jing! The 3-man stun. Mac with a big sonic wave, he's still gonna die anyway. They didn't really have enough follow-up after it. Chase on a Tims. They should have a Slark as well, and they will. I still think it's well worth it for Boom with those 2 kills. So close to being a much, much bigger state of affairs for Nemesis, but again, the Sonic Wave just proving not to be anywhere near enough.
Not quite. And you didn't really have Akashi ready to join in for that one, holding that triangle area either. He did just respawn after dying earlier on. So he's not keen on instantly fighting in. Boom! And again, they're playing this to their own liking. They're the ones getting all the aggression out. Armel's got to blink for himself to work in and out of these fights. Nemesis are lacking presence. Like, the threat isn't really there on them. You need more farm and Kashi for the time to be relevant. The auras for Raven still a ways off, at least having the mech. The full Crimson will have some use, especially more so on jabs, rather than would on Jackie, as the cleave damage is still going to be annoying. So there is still a couple of things to consider, but some timing is starting to be met. Blade Mail from Mac alone isn't enough. The Kaya at the very least is flying in, and that should improve the output of Mac at that point. But again, you've got the 4K lead up on Boom. Majority of that is still on Jackie, but that investment has paid off. With a trifecta up, they are just set to go. Maybe could sneak a Roche on. Likely look for a kill into Roche is the comfiest here.
Nice Dark Pact from Tims preempting the arrow. Big wraparound, Jackie and Zhao from the south. They're going to run into Eris. Moonlight Shadow was popped, but they'll get us in. It's just too late. Eris will barely leap out of there. Oh, so close yet so far, at least for one. Everybody else will escape just fine from Nemesis. Seems like they well and truly understand that they do need a lot more time than what they've had. Here's a smoke though. Maybe they try and reinitiate, see if they can find somebody. But Tims breaks the smoke already. He sees them too. Jing lift up with the cancel is there with the Dark Pact, and now Akashi's been caught again, though the arrow does cancel the shackles, and now the Storm Hammer. It's bought time! It's board time though. Akashi's still too low. He's gonna die. They will find Zhao. They'll try for the Sven. They will get him in the end, but they will lose Mac in response. In they go for more. Armel now being chased here by Raven. He does go down. Jabs meanwhile man fighting Raven, who needs to run away. Although they might just kite out Jabs. Jing meanwhile fighting Tim's in the mid. It's just Jabs versus the world. Now Jabs gonna retreat. Man, Jing's been so scary on this Rubik, and Eris with that cheeky little arrow buying a bit of time to cancel the shackles. Oh my, it's just so on edge here. But they are still finding a way to fight back, and that was a huge fight for Nemesis.
And it is, I would say right now, out of all the players in this game, Jing is MVP already. Like he is the one guy that you have to watch out for. And this is them playing a little bit sloppy on Nemesis, right? Like they smoke under the ward. They get the re-smoke under the ward there, so it's easily broken up. We were seeing some, again, good plays out with Sonic Wave. This was the early engagement, of course. That was nice in the same area, but it a little bit reckless. They got caught out. Akashi just TPs to the point as the smoke breaks. So he's in the middle of no man's land, and you're not able to leverage your tiny damage. But it's Jing that salvages. The Storm Hammer on him. Out of all the spells, this is the one that's the most impactful. As again, we have that replay. They smoked under that ward. They're in a very lousy spot, and they just let Akashi just keeps the TP going. And it's such an awkward spot. Yes, he survives a little bit longer, but boy, oh boy, if he just walked up the ramp instead with his team, might have been a little bit better. It's just Jing. It's the Jing show. He manages to get the stuns. Jackie kills himself to the blade mail, of course, as one does. But Jing is just, he sets up.
These Stormhammers have been very good. You wouldn't think it's the spell to take here in this game. You would have thought Jing was trying to take all the Shaman spells, but not the case. The Stormhammer proving to be actually pretty busted in the Rubik's hands, and it's doing some work. I'm appreciating this quite a bit here. As mid lane, Armel gets spotted. Mac still going to continue chasing, but does take it easy as there is going to be a leap. Sonic Wave is out, connecting with Armel. Arrow's going to connect as well. Eris with a beautiful angle. A fantastic arrow angle. Connecting on Armel on the tail end, and the Leshrac will drop once again. And it is starting to feel like it is more so the Jackie and Jab show now. Mostly on Jackie, of course. As they are going to run into Raven. Raven in pretty big danger. Still running away though from Jackie as Mac blinked in, but he got hexed up. He needs some help now. Vacuum's going to cancel the shackles, so the blink away is there. And that's a lot of committal for absolutely nothing for Boo. BKB, God Strength, Meta, all of it was popped, and they find 0 kills.
I have to say, I underestimated how much this Crimson Guard would still do up against Jackie. If he has nothing to cleave off of, then yeah, the main target, the barrier is doing a lot of work. Buys Raven enough time. If Raven died, he doesn't get the vac. If you don't get the vac, Mac dies. So that Crimson already, again, showing its impact there with a failed gank. That's a fresh BKB of Jackie down. And that's a smoke opportunity for Nemesis. If they can find that movement in here.
Tim's gonna go into the Shadow Dance. Will run. Mac thinking about the chase. Does actually continue. Will not have enough for the kill though, of course. Akashi's got a full blink up now, and this is where he starts to feel a little bit scary on the Tiny. Because now you've got the right click and the magic and the initiation on this carry. And this is around the stage where you feel much more confident trying to join your team as a core Tiny. I'd still say he probably wants a BKB to feel ultra safe, but at least with the blink up now, he can start to join his team. It's on the courier, by the way, John. It's coming.
Yep. And this should open up possibilities. The BKB certainly is necessary, of course. So you're up against a Leshrac, you're up against a Shadow Shaman, you need it. Speaking of, they are taking Roshan with that Shadow Shaman down bot. Secondary life for Armel, that does cost him the wards, but this is the proper hero to give it to, as he can maximize the mana pool as well. Sven is a transformation hero. You don't really want to hand him Aegis, especially if he has to use God's Strength anyway in the first life. So it has to go to Armel. 11-10, 2K lead from Boom. A very even game across the board as Boom can find the early game tempo they want. They're getting that build up into the mid game now as well. Jabs already has a Yasha. Dragonlance up. And it is starting to go into scale. And Jackie is going straight Daedalus. Still a little bit of a smoke out from Nemesis. They are going to go through the gate, see if they can try to snipe. As they are at that point where you kind of need to play. Right? Because you don't want to wait for the Sven to have Daedalus. You don't want to wait for when Jab starts to be a secondary carry. Your scaling will cut off. Granted, Armel?
Up here. Well, they're going to find Armel. Big trouble. He's going to lose the Aegis already. That's not the start they would have liked here, but they're still bringing numbers in. Armel going to casually walk out for now. And it looks like everybody else from Boom going to be okay. Apart from maybe Tims, who does get blown up by Akashi and Mac. So Aegis down, Tims down. They're going to smoke up anyway here, Boom. Lines being drawn around the dire jungle where maybe they'll run into Mac. And in fact, they will see Mac on the creep wave now, but instead they're running directly to Akashi in the triangle. Akashi has no idea they're coming either, and he's completely alone. Oh, a beautiful smoke now from Boom. Though I must admit, John, it was maybe on the luckier side, considering they didn't have any vision on Akashi. They were just guessing where he'd be.
Yeah, I think it's down to the fact that they know Nemesis would feel like they need to go back and form because they blew 2 ultimates, right? That was the usage of Sonic Wave. That was the usage of Wall. They know they're not going to be clumped up in that time. So chances are someone's going to be in the triangle and they take the opportunity. That's where the experience of Boom kind of kicks in. It's very easy to read for them. And now they get their own movement across the gates here. Mac right in between in a little bit of a pincer.
So they are going to focus down Jing. Jing will drop. Mac going to just blink away. Tim's got a Yule's up. He will commit it. And Jackie's going to be there with a stun, but there's no way to get it out in time. And so they will retreat. They will lose Jing on that Rubik, but that's about it for now here for Nemesis. Jackie, meanwhile, losing his Chrysalis on the Courier. Going to be very annoying for him. It's a pretty big item when it comes to the Sven.
Is
Nemesis back to the avoid game where they're just completely trying to stay away here from Boom Esports until Akashi's ready. I do appreciate that Akashi's working towards that Revenant's Brooch now against the Sven. That should help quite a lot.
And it should. You do have the pipe to play with, at least on Boom, to mitigate some of that magic damage, but you have a lot of magical anyway in Nemesis. Chances are you pierce through the barrier, and the aura 8% reduction on the rest of the heroes isn't much to be worried about. So you will still have that effectiveness here for Akashi once it's done. It's going to take a little bit more time until it's done, though. For the side of Boom, they're just slowly growing this lead up. 4K now for them, 12-12. As there are some key timings. Like if they do get to the point where BKBs are up, your presence here in Nemesis just vanishes. They will find Tims.
There goes Tims. Oh, Akashi now. Oh, that's an awkward TP. Akashi gets caught. They've got a lot of lock, and Jackie's here. Max trying to connect to help him out. Akashi's going to turn around, but he sees Jackie now. He doesn't want to fight any longer. Oh, he's going to die. He'll find Tims, but it will cost his own life once again. Akashi getting a bit too tempted by these support kills, and you know his team is heavily reliant on this Tiny to carry them. You know, they don't really have a core that can play pos 1 here. It's all on this Tiny.
And it is. And if you do take that away from Tiny and just maybe relying more on Darks here, just relying on the Vac Waltz here doesn't feel great. It's going to be a little bit difficult for Raven. You're playing into a Lesh. The illusions don't really last long up against the Lesh rack. So you're not going to get too much utility out from them. And it has to be the Tiny. And again, this game is just getting harder and harder. BKB is all done now on Armel. Another target that you just can't pin down and burst. You kind of have to try to kite. We haven't really seen that here as Raven.
Oh, Raven. Not anticipating the jump from Zhao. Gets caught, taken down very quickly. Not a good sign if you're Nemesis now, as they've lost another. Here comes Akashi once again, but Jab's just freely knocking away the T3 tower. Will eventually retreat.
Yeah.
And so they won't find anything really, apart from a lot of damage onto that bottom tier 3. But these deaths on Nemesis, like Akashi dying a couple times by himself. Yeah, these deaths, they really do start to rack up.
That they are. And for the side of Nemesis, it just kind of boils back to your draft, right? Like, you didn't have the fastest time on Mac. The matchup against Leshrac was not bad, but even. So you don't have the advantage there. You had a really rough time for Raven, and that had to be your connection. Took a long time until they started to play together. Even then, Raven's still bottom network core at this moment. And Akashi just needs more. He does have Revenant's Booch flying out now, so some magical crit damage on hand, but there needs to be more. It needs to be a BKB for Akashi as well. Kind of have to sit back, wait for that 4,000 gold to come in, and then maybe that's when you start to feel some confidence. But that is still gonna take some time. They'll try to smoke off of this though. Perhaps if you catch them one by one on Boom while they're fragmented, that could be the opportunity, but it can't be a support. You have to find a core now off of these.
When they go, search is on. Tim's going to be caught immediately. Gets a leap up to the high ground. Meanwhile, Jackie trying to jump in. So will Armel. There goes Mac. Immediate buyback from Tim's as well in the middle of all this. They've also found Jing. In fact, they'll also find a Shaman here for Akashi, but he's just trapped in the wards right now, and the Shaman doesn't even die. Zhao will make it out. They're onto the Darks here as well. Make matters worse, Armel on a triple kill, and Boom have got 4 down.
Yeah. This is their opening. A very clean shot now to just pressure. I'd say onto high ground. It's not even a threat. The biggest threat now is actually not even a right-click damage of Akashi. It's just tossed back into a very ugly position, which you might not even be worried about on the side of Boom. If you just go for the objective play, no concerns here. Nemesis, I'm not sure what you do now. Like, again, outside of maybe some toss-back plays on the defense, your offense has been really lackluster. You haven't had anything defensive come out on any of these cores outside of Auras. So you're always just a sitting duck when that initiation comes in from Boom. And Boom just has nothing to wait for. Meta is back for jabs. Start digging away bot. They've shoved in all the lanes. And I know, no vac wall for 40 seconds. That's your big teamfight combination. There's no threat.
Bot Rax. At least the range Rax is now down. Boom will play it safe. 16k ahead though, and certainly no threat right now from Nemesis. Not anymore anyway. It seems like Boom are definitely pulling way too far ahead in this game too. It just really feels like at this point Nemesis just dropped the ball a little bit here in the mid game. It was pretty back and forth, but just a couple of weird deaths, and well, your Tiny's just not measuring up at all now to the Sven. Like, there's a huge net worth disparity between the two. So everyone's ahead of the Tiny right now on the side of Boom Esports in terms of the cores. And I imagine Boom will be looking for the Jugular after another Roshan attempt, which should be coming relatively soon.
Should. I think, again, for the side of Nemesis, it's down to how you execute now. It's got to be a good vac wall, which means you kind of need to kite out the BKBs at this point. Very difficult with how well Boom's been positioning. I think for Boom, their MVP has been Tim's breaking smokes, and Zhao with his blink. Like, he has been doing so much work just going forward, knowing that with how far apart Nemesis have been playing, the saves aren't there. You know, the avalanche to interrupt isn't there, the arrow to interrupt isn't there. He's getting the holds they want, giving them opportunities to just find these single target pickoffs and translate that to a wider team fight, which is just ugly for Nemesis. So, yeah, nice and steady for Boom Esports. Nemesis, the hit and run hasn't worked. There has been no opportunities, but they need to at least try to contest. Roshan is up. Boom have smoked. They've smoked up as well. You need to find the backline somehow. Like, they've got to go.
They're going to try here. Nemesis, they're starting to move in. Akashi, the blink not really finding Zhao. Moonlight Shadow pop, but they're underneath the sentry right now. A wrap around through the dire triangle.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
What's placed? Roshan's not really happening anyway. It's just TB illusions being thrown at it. Meanwhile, the bottom lane's just being forced in. I mean, the thing is, if you're not going to go for Roshan, you may as well just push in the bottom racks. Someone will have to come back and defend eventually. They'll pop the glyph for this, but it looks like they're just going to allow the bottom racks to eventually fall. As Nemesis, they still want the fight,
Dire's courier
but boom, they're in a position where they can just casually wait
against bottom barracks.
as they're still finding objectives while all this is happening. Nemesis feel the need to just start Roshan now, but they know that Boom are waiting for it. And now I think they've lost their chance to, because Max TP'd back to defend the base.
Yeah. Just, they have to see that Brown. And again, for Boom, free Roche is going to lead into pretty much a full high ground disappearing at this point, unless Nemesis can really surprise us with a little bit of their defensive prowess, but I just don't see that happening. A little bit of an arrow to scout, no opportunity to really try to steal, as Jabs has the Legion scouting. I'll take the freebie. Secondary life coming out for Jackie, which again is surprising, but it's at this point you want the Sven to start charging forward anyhow. 17k advantage, and Nemesis have just been stuck. Again, this time around, the gambit they took on lanes doesn't quite pay off, and Boom just have very non-committal push. Just wards down, illusions from Terrorblade. Nice and easy. You've got Jackie in a very comfortable game with his Sven. Like, no one's running away from him with his full harpoon. Daedalus damage on hand as well. Cleaving true with crits could be devastating here.
Scanning.
And for Nemesis, I just don't see the relief. Akashi with a BKB should be one key tool, but I don't know. We just haven't seen the angles. It's been the Boom. It's been Boom all the way. Even the Tormentor now to be taken with a full Satanic on Jackie. Get themselves a nice freebie out here. It's going to head to Xiao, as they already have it on Tim's, as that tends to be what Slark does. And just back off. Never give an opportunity open. 20k up. BKB for Jabs, I believe, as they're just forced to farm around here on the side of Nemesis. Ags for Mac is being formed up. The Shadow Strike spam can be annoying, but they do have BKBs. And even a Ewell's out from Tim's as well. So finding utility with that, you're gonna have to wait a few more seconds. They'll stall out even longer. Fresh BKB for Akashi again is the start of something. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be enough yet. That has to be in conjunction with a good vac wall from Raven, with good initiation here from Nemesis, and we just haven't seen that. Not at all.
No, we haven't. We really have not. And Boom Esports, they want to move in. Secondary life available on Jackie. Satanic completed, just in the backpack at the moment before the Aegis expires. Here we go. On there you go. Akashi going to try and get through the first life of Jackie, but they don't really have enough. So he'll go back and reset a little bit while they let the TB illusions get the job done with the Serpent Wards, and that they will. He resets with the Satanic, and back we go again. Or do they retreat? It's hard to know with Boom Esports. They'll smoke up first. They see Akashi. So Jab is just baiting them in, saying, I'm going to take your axe if you don't try for this fight. Akashi will make the jump in. Immediate hex out though from Zhao. Stun out as well from Armel, locking down the Tiny there. He does get the blink away for now. Mac's going to jump in. Ooh. Boomer stun to fall a little bit low, but Jackie gets a 3-man stun out. Though they lose detection. The invis kicks in at the right second, saving the other two. And ultimately, they'll have to walk away eventually, but it looks like the melee barrack surely goes down, and it does. Yeah. So one Rex left here for Nemesis to try and defend.
There's no more vac wall to worry about. And there's still the BKB of Akashi, but without the vac wall set up, I don't know how again you take these fights.
Oh, they're right onto Armel, but there's just no damage. There is just no damage really going on here with this draft of Nemesis. Boom Esports, they will retreat. They'll come back another day, perhaps when God's strength is back up.
Yeah.
In fact, they're already just waiting by the Radiant Triangle, just hoping that they find a rogue one. And in fact, they just make as Mac shows up, but he will blink away. But geez, tough times now. I mean, Nemesis, 1 lane of barracks left, still 23k net worth behind. The Tiny, this game around, has certainly fallen very, very flat.
And it has. Again, it's kind of maybe on this Darkseer as well. I feel like they pick it to block it on Nemesis, right? Like we were saying, Boom was probably thinking about this. They steal it on Raven. It really doesn't do anything with a Rubik. And to be fair, I don't think Jing had a bad game. He was doing as much as he could. It's just Raven had a bad lane anyhow. Like he couldn't do much. There was no presence on the Iron Shell, which leads to that slower tempo, which again meant that Mac had no one to connect with on the Quap. So you lose that early game tempo that this lineup desperately needed. You don't manage to slow down anymore.
They got Akashi again. Forstaff's going to save Akashi's life. Akashi actually... Oh, he blinked back in. He'll be okay to retreat. Sonic Wave's flying out left, right, and center here. Of course, they do have that minus 45-second cooldown talent, so he can just spam away to try and defend the high ground. And well, for Boom, they don't get the opening they would have liked, so naturally they are going to look to retreat and find another day. Meanwhile, mid though, Armel's being hunted. They'll jump in with a telekinesis, jump out onto Armel, but he has the BKB up, so he can just run away. They'll try again. Mac can't really keep up with him, so instead they're going to have to settle for the +5 of Zhao. Not really the biggest target, but I guess they'll take what they get right now, and it will create a bit of farming opportunity for their core.
And it will. I mean, to be fair, that simple kill on Shadow Shaman is 461 plus 800 gold. That's a 1.2 gold swing just from 1 kill. So you're happy enough to find it. You just want to find that maybe 2, 3, 4 more times on the softer targets. But that's the state of the game. Akashi's trying to go back for a butterfly. Trying to get some attack speed up, some evasion up as well to cause some issues here on the side of Boom Esports. Do even out with a mid-tier 2 take. So overall, I mean, that 1 kill does open up this game just a tad bit. Still 19k deficit. Still a lot of issues you have to sort out. But they are riding through the rough spot at the moment. They can't stay outside base too long. They do TP in to defend it once again. But because you committed for early BKBs, of course, in this match for the side of Boom, a few of them are down to just 6 seconds. And that's where the opportunity lies for Nemesis. Can you make use of that tinier window where Boom has to get their burst out? Can you hold out on Raven? Can you land that big wall of replica? Can you get that control, that presence out from Akashi? It's been really hard to find it. Again, they find 1 kill, that's great. It's an isolated Shadow Shaman. Chances are you're not going to find Zhao that isolated ever again. And even an amp damage rune to help things here for Boom on the last set of racks. Now Roshan is 40 seconds away until we see that timer. They will smoke up, and this could be the end game. If you don't find a good isolation tactic here on the side of Nemesis, and with DD up, it's not going to take too long to melt through anything here for Jackie.
Looking mid, Akashi is hanging around the tree line, thinking about taking that creep wave, but he doesn't. They just need 1 target. Akashi. Oh, the BKB using Zhao. He's in early. He's in a bit too early. They even popped the God Strength, preparing for that one as a Sonic Wave almost taking down Zhao, but it's not quite enough. There's now the back wall as well, landing on 2 targets. Everyone's still perfectly fine from both sides, though. Zhao was the closest one to dying, but even then it just was not enough in the end.
No.
But they have defended.
Well, sure, they did have to pop BKBs. And I suppose for Boom, there's no need to try to poke onto the high ground after committing God's Strength. They could just wait for next Roshan. A little bit of a smoke opportunity for Nemesis. They get the catch again.
They're going to jump in.
Oh.
Tims will die. Gem will be on the deck, so that's a pretty decent win here for Nemesis now. And here's the scary part for Boom. Like, yeah, their 2 racks is up, John, but you've gotten to the stage where Akashi now has the full butterfly. And if you lose a big team fight as Boom, the game can change real quick. Because you saw how quickly Akashi can push through these towers.
That it can. And again, that's why they've been so cautious, right? They're not giving openings out. They are being punished every now and again. They know they're still in control. And that's why Bloom's playing it safe. That's why they're not looking to push too hard. They're constantly, for the most part, staying together as a team. They're only losing their supports. They cloud out the Roshan here as well. They do have that secondary target. Nemesis should be fairly aware. Roche is going to be the next play, and they do have some wards to set up here. And that is going to be the flashpoint. And again, for Boom, it's a matter of just catching Nemesis by surprise. What's he doing there?
What was that? He blinked up to the high ground. He was trying to take out one of Jabs' illusions, but he blinked right onto the high ground, completely blind for that.
I mean, it's a freebie. You have no quap to worry about. You don't have to worry about the disruptiveness. 170 gold away for the buyback on Mac. That's a massive blunder. And it's now this Roshan with a refresh. Roche Banner and Cheese should be your ticket to end this game now, and boom. As they pause for a mic issue.
We are going to have some mic issues. Well, I'm not sure what the idea from Mac was. Maybe at this point of the game, he's just losing his mind slowly. He's just trying to keep everything pushed out as the clock, but it's just like Mac can't afford to just give away free kills if he wants to find a win this game, like especially because you're looking for a huge comeback. And deaths like that are just really dumb, you know, because you're chasing a TB illusion of all things and blinking onto high ground completely blind.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no two ways to put it. It is a really dumb way to die.
I didn't expect that. I mean, again, Eris scouted out the illusion. I thought they were like, all right, they're playing around bot jungle. They're going to hold the high ground. They'll plant wards. They'll wait. He just jumps in. Solo? I don't know. Refresh hard instantly used for that siege.
Akashi trying to find the shaman. Zhao not going to die though. They just really want to blow up that shaman just once. Jump in now from Armel, trying to chase down the Tiny. But it looks like Akashi wants to fight a little bit. Doesn't eventually look to retreat as Mac is about to respawn. He does have buyback, but he's held out. Mega creeps are going to be up though very, very soon. Oh, there you go. Megas are now available, so you're playing against Mega creeps as Nemesis, but they're not giving up yet. They'll keep moving in. They've got vision on this high ground at the triangle, so they'll move in with a big avalanche toss combination, but nobody else was really ready for it. So Boom Esports now casually walking away with Mega creeps up. Lions being drawn back towards the Radiant jungle. They'll make their move down. And now, I mean, it's Boom Esports' game to throw. All they've got to do is not make a mistake.
They have.
It really has always been their game to throw, to be fair. Ever since 2 axes up, as they missed the Hex, but it won't matter. Raven still gets caught. He's got buyback available. Obviously, he will need to consider committing that, as it seems like they've got one team fight left.
That they do. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's been the same issue for the past almost 15 minutes now at this point. And their team fight execution on Nemesis isn't particularly amazing. Your follow-up from that wall is just Avalanche. Try again, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, Avalanche toss, it does some damage, but nowhere near enough. At least Jing's got the Stormhammer again, so maybe he can make some magic happen. Zarmel gonna Wind Waker away. Big back wall though being thrown out here by Raven, but it's not too much really happening here against Boom, as they are still trying to run though. Jackie now getting caught in the Sven. Jackie might actually die. They'll try to use the cleave to take him down through the Death Shroud, but it's not gonna be enough. No, in fact it is. Jackie is gone. That's a big one. That was 2.5k gold for that Sven kill being handed to Mac. They are still gonna have to deal with these Mega creeps and these T4 towers slowly being whittled away at. But you've got a Quap Darkseid. I mean, you can deal with the creeps, but can you find a way back to get to the opposing high ground?
I think the better question is Boom going to give you a 2-0? Because it's still a very impossible game to come in, right? Like, that's maybe a little bit of a mistake out from Jackie, sure. Legitimately for Boom, all you need to do now, which John Uel is doing, he is going to buy a refresh. what will you do up against double shaman wards in the middle of a chaotic fight? You know, it'll just take care of the tier 4s. You have the plus 50% servant ward HP as well, so it's going to take 3 hits. Just a little bit more annoying to kind of kill off the wards. They could still just, you know, play it safe on Boom. You don't need to get too hasty. Don't give opportunities out. Otherwise, everyone's going to get called upstairs. Okay, Mushi's got separate belts set up, separate slippers. It's Southeast Asia. We use slippers here. It's to kind of teach a lesson. Play it safe.
Good to see you guys showed mercy. Didn't have that kind of treatment.
You know, don't you worry. The way they use it, yeah, nah.
I won't get into it, John. You know, it might get the conversation might get a little bit too depressing if I start.
To be fair, the game is pretty depressing to watch. For Nemesis, it's joyful for Boom, but it also is your classic Southeast Asian. We just lost game 1. We do not want to throw this game. We will wait. Kind of game as well. So it's not exactly joy as it is apprehension.
Sonic Wave, jabs, actually avoided that, but he is still going to lose his Aegis. First life is gone. Armel jumping in, has found Jing, but Jing will buy back. Meanwhile, Jackie going on to Mac, but Mac gets the blink away. Everyone alive for now. They did have to buy back on Jing though, as now the back wall drop. 3 heroes in that. Mac's going to jump in another time with his BKB. Boom Esports. Careful, is jumping from Akashi. Avalanche toss, not enough yet onto Jabs. He's in danger now, Akashi. He will die, so will Jing, so will Mac, and that's going to be it. They don't have the buyback on Akashi. And that's what makes this defense impossible, surely. As they're on to Raven, he just kind of runs in, ends up dying. GG is called. Boom Esports, they will successfully force us to a game number 3 against Nemesis.
That they do. And for Nemesis, I mean, this was them. For me, the main issue, in my view, for Nemesis